Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today is another trying to fix video, and this one I'm really looking forward to doing because I think it's going to be a nice mix of electrical and mechanical. But saying that, the fault does sound purely electrical, but you never know. You never know, you can't always go by the eBay listing. So I bought this from eBay. It wasn't cheap, but saying that, it has got a resale value. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually like it or not. The weird thing is, when I kind of look at this, I'm thinking, well, it can't be that good. But then, when I read reviews, everybody's raving about it. So, when I say raving about it, I'm talking about the Amazon reviews. So here we go. Well, you already know what it is because you've read the title of the video anyway. But it is a Eufy Robotic vacuum cleaner. So, let me show you the listing. I believe this is just from a normal seller, so it was like a one-off item. So I'm pretty sure it is going to be a genuine fault. So it wasn't cheap. I paid £40 for it plus £8 postage. But working, they go for about £120, £130. New, they're about, and this is current still, you can buy this on Amazon right now. New, they go for, I think they're about £230. So if I can get it working, even if I have to spend a bit of money on it, I think it will be worth it. But for me, the main thing is whether or not it makes an interesting video. And I think this will make an interesting video. The inside of this should be like full of sensors and motors and everything like that. So I think it's going to be quite good. Now, let me show you the description. It says, here is my Eufy RoboVac 30C selling as spares or repair. 14 months old, so it's just out of warranty. And that's always the way, isn't it? You know, you get something, it's got a year's guarantee on it, and then something will go wrong in the 13th or 14th month. It says charging battery, but doesn't charge or run. And it says tried another battery, but still same, so presume it needs a new control system board. Which is nice of them to actually submit that information, because other people would just say, don't know what's wrong with it. And it says here, comes box with charger, remote and used cleaning brush. That's all I know. No returns as spares or repair only. And I put a bid in. The bidding was quite low. Put a bid in, and then it's I was sniped with a few seconds to go, which obviously happens on eBay. That's what it's like, isn't it? And I thought, oh, that's a bit annoying because I was looking forward to that. Also, I was looking at a big job lot of 10 of these, and I think I put in an offer at £150, but again, that was sniped at the last minute. But the reason I wanted this one more is because it had the docking station, the charger and everything. The job lot only had the 10 vacuum cleaners with nothing else. And I thought, oh, that's annoying, I've lost out on both of them, because I got all excited about the thought of doing a video on this. And then I got a second chance offer, and it's, the seller said that basically the winner said that the kid had accidentally bid. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but probably not true. But still, it means I managed to get it. Whether I had to pay more or not for the kid bidding, I don't know. Not sure about that. I don't know whether I had to put in my max. I don't know whether I had to pay my maximum bid or not. I wasn't really paying too much attention, which is not very good. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. I'm going to just verify that it's not working, and then we'll take it over to the blue mat, take it apart, and see if we can actually get it working. Now, it's going to take me quite a while to work out what's what, so I'm just going to do that off camera just to make sure it definitely is faulty. So next time you see this, it will be on the blue mat, and I'll tell you what's wrong with it. I've had a good look round it now. It's only been about 10 minutes later, but the tray and everything seems to be okay. There's quite a few scratches and scrapes on it, but you would expect that because this is going to be hitting into next to everything, isn't it? And if you've got like a low sort of sideboard or something, then this is going to keep hitting into it. Now, it's got a off switch here and an on switch here. Now, when I put it to off and put it in here, it makes that noise. But then after about 10 seconds, it gives me 4 beeps. Okay, so that's, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 beeps. And 4 beeps means that, it says here, 4 beeps, that the RoboVac's roll-in brush is stuck. But it's definitely not stuck. It is moving. Let me turn it on. I haven't tried actually turning it on and then charging it. See what it does then. Right, so we've got a white light here. I didn't notice that before. But look, 4 beeps again. So that can't be right, because otherwise that would drive you mad, wouldn't it? And look, if I take it off here, and then press it on here, there's nothing happening. Now obviously I haven't owned one of these before, so I don't know the ins and outs, but I think, look, let's take the battery out and let's see if there's any charge in that battery or not, and then we can see what's happening. I'm just going to turn it off here. The weird thing is there's no, you have to charge it via this docking station. I can't see any other charging point, because I thought I'd be able to get the power adapter and plug it straight into it, because I thought it might be a problem with the charging dock, but I can't see anywhere. I mean, these are the two big pads that it charges on here. So now we've got it off there. I want to see if what happens to this light here. So the light just stays white. Right, now it's not making those four beeps. Yes, it is. Weird. Right, so yeah, I suppose maybe the earlier models were more simple. See, this one here, you can use it with the remote control. I believe you can use Alexa and Amazon to basically ask it to clean your house. If you're away from home, you can do that, or via the app. Well, sorry, if you're away from home, you would use the Eufy app, I believe. But when you're at home, you can ask your home assistants to make it start working. Yeah, let's just sort of go more mechanical in a way. Let's take it apart. Let's forget about all this docking station and stuff. Let's measure the voltage on the battery. Let's see if we can see anything obvious with it. Maybe it doesn't charge if that brush is jammed up. So maybe this is a problem with hair trapped around the inside of it. I'm just thinking that it would still charge anyway, but then it wouldn't run. Unless it goes into some sort of safe mode or something. Don't know. But let's get it over to the blue mat. I really want to see the inside of it anyway. Get started. So first things first, let's make sure that there's voltage coming out of this. We know that the light's on here, but we'll make sure the correct voltage is coming out. Now this isn't a proper test, because by testing it here, yes, I'm going to check for voltage, so it might give me an indication if it's like completely dead or outputting too little, but it's not going to mean that it's going to work when it's under load. So I don't know how you would simulate a load on this to be able to check that it's going to work, for example, when it is drawing 19 volts at 0.6 amps. So if you have a look here, that's what the output is, 19 volts at 0.6 amps. And if you have a look at the symbol here, we now know that the middle pin on here is the positive and the outer is a negative, because you can see the negative points to the outer and that points to the inside. So let's plug it in and see if we are getting that. So let's go to DC volts, positive in the middle, negative on the outside. Yeah, there you go, 18.6 volts. So I presume that's going to be just fine. So now let's plug it into here and see if we have 18.6 volts at these bits here. And we do, 18.6. So I'm thinking that's going to be okay. I suppose it depends what the battery is. I mean, obviously if the battery is like 19 volts, then maybe this needs to pump out 20 or 21 volts, but I'm thinking that's going to be alright. So the next thing to check is, I mean, it could be something simple like the on and off switch is not working, but let's I mean, it is making the right noises, isn't it? So let's take it apart. Now I can see that it's got a battery symbol here. So let's take off these two screws and see what's happening. And this is the model number, and it actually says here 19 volts at 0.6 amps. Oh, well, that's the input. And the power is, so it's 40 watts. And the battery is, 14.4. So that would be fine, charging at 18 volts. So 14.4 DC, lithium ion, 2600 milliamps. Yeah, okay. Right, let's pop this out and see what's happening in here. It's been a while since I've been excited about trying to fix, but with this one here, I mean, I do like most of the things I try to fix, but with this one I've actually been looking forward to it because it's something completely different. Right, here's the battery. Now the battery shouldn't have failed after 14 months. And I do believe that story. Now look at that, that's nice. pick that out there. I do believe that story because this is still a current model. So it says here, oh look at that, they're using the 18, I don't know the proper way to say it, but 18650 cells. I've got some of them. I'm almost certain I've got some of them. They're really common ones. So I wonder if this pack is faulty here. Now I have checked, you can definitely buy these packs. So there's only 2 wires here. So now we should have, it says it's 14.4 volts. But normally with lithium you get a little bit more, don't you? So this is going to be made up of, let me get my calculator. It's going to be made up of 4 3.7 volt cells. 3 times 3.7 equals 14.8. Now I know normally when they're charged, the 3.7 cells I think are about 4.1 or something, about 4.1, something like that. So 4.1 times 4. So maybe when this is fully charged, maybe it should be over 16 volts. Not sure. Let's have a look anyway. So black to black and red to red. Oh, wrong setting. Yeah, 10.2, that's well low, isn't it? That's really low, but he said he's swapped the batteries at 10.2. Now, I don't know how to force a charge into this because I've got a 5 volt one that does 1 cell, but not 4 cells. Unless I was to get my bench power supply and put, for example, 19 volts in straight into here. Right, so I mean that's why it's not working, because this is too low a voltage. But why isn't it accepting a charge? Right, so I'm going to have to take their word for it that they did change the battery, because right now what I would be doing is I would be trying to, what would I be doing? Maybe even replacing the battery. Or I'll tell you what we'll do. It's such a shame you can't plug the power supply directly into it. I'm amazed that there's no separate jack, that you have to use the dock. Unless I'm missing something. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to balance this on here, and I'm going to take a reading on here to see if there's actually any voltage coming through on here. That beep's going to annoy people even more than my multimeter continuity beep. Right, so according to that, nothing is coming through. But look, the beeping's stopped now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug it, plug it in again. And this has just gone off balance. No, look, it's not charging. So that's the reason the battery's gone flat, is because this isn't sending the charge through to it. Oh, do you know what? I'm really enjoying this one. I'm glad it's not just, well, I don't think it's going to be just the battery. Tell you what, let's take it apart. So the 4 beeps. Oh no, look. It says here. So solid red indicator light. We haven't got any light at the moment. But it says here, flashing red indicator light, 4 beeps, RoboVac's power level is too low. So it's different things for a flashing red and a solid red. Yeah, that's the flashing red. And this is the solid red. But yet we don't have any lights. I'm just going to turn the main lights off just to see if I can see any light up. Definitely nothing happening there. And let's turn it on at the bottom. And now let's see what happens. Right, so I'm assuming that this lights up or something around here lights up. As you can see, there's nothing happening. So let's take it apart. That's the little dust tray there that collects all the dirt. Actually, I wonder if I can just take this apart. Yeah. Right, so these are the things that, like, when it bumps into stuff, but look at that front one. That front one is not, that front one's not kicking back. Do you know what? 1 second now, before I go any further, I'm going to plug that battery back in, just in case it's to do with that sensor thing at the front. See if it makes those same beeps. Yeah, same beeps. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to double check that if that was forced in. Maybe it thinks it's still in use or something. I've undone the main big screws, but it's still not wanting to. It's still not wanting to come off. Now maybe it clips off, or maybe I have to undo more. So I'm going to undo these ones by each of the wheels, see what's happening under there. Okay, so that's the motor for the wheel, so let's undo this ribbon cable. Right, so there must be gears or whatever in here to get it from the motor over to the wheel. And there's a big spring in here. Right, well that's not going to make a difference to the bottom coming off. So now I might as well undo this time. I might as well undo most of it. It's nice and easy to change over the this wheel assembly here. I don't know whether you can buy spares or not. Maybe it's all held together by this bumper thing here, so let's undo this and see what's happening. The screws running all the way around the edge. Right, so that pops off there. Oh, okay, yeah, then I think it all comes off there. Right, let's undo this side as well. Comes away there, and we've just got a connector at the front here. Let's undo that. Right, so there's definitely sensors in this bit here, so it mustn't just work on when it bumps. There's definitely something going on up here, because I can see like a circuit board or some kind of ribbon cable. Right, let's have a look at the front. Alright, so these are the clips here, so all I'd have to do is push those out a little bit more to get them to be more springy, and these are the two that do the side. Yeah, that's fine. Ah, look, that's trapped there. See that ribbon cable? Unless that's happened now. Oh yeah, they're nicely trapped. Well, I mean, he wouldn't have taken it apart. Well, I say he, it could be a she. They wouldn't have taken it apart if there wasn't a fault on it. So that wasn't me now, because you can see that the wires are all trapped. Let's... I wonder, have any of them gone through? So obviously it's been more than just a battery that's been changed, I would say. Unless this got dropped or something. But I doubt it. I don't think those wires would have moved that much just by being dropped. Do you know what? Maybe that is the problem, because if it's not sensing this bar properly, or if there's a short, then maybe it just doesn't charge for safety. So let's plug this back in. So obviously this would get rid of the fact if there was a short, but it's not going to get rid of the if one of the wires are broken. I'm hoping it's still going to run without the motor, without the motors on the wheels. Let's see what happens now. Same thing. Right, okay. Could still be to do those wires though. If it's not recognising the sensor at the front because the wires are broken internally, that could be an issue. See, part of me is thinking, if it says 4 beeps RoboVac's power level is too low, then maybe it just needs to be left plugged in for a long time to build up the power level. But why isn't the red light on? You know, to tell me there's no light at all. So I think we need to take it apart anyway. You can tell that I just want to see the inside of it. But I'm thinking it would also be of benefit as well to find out about how those lights work in case there's more wires trapped on the inside. Right, I think it is clipped into place. Oh, it might be these two little screws here. That's the one. Right, let's take it off this way. Oh well, okay, so that's the reason the red light's not connected, is because this ribbon cable here has come off. So it might... Oh, here we go. Woohoo! Water damage, look at this. Boom. Not so sure about the seller now, because I think it's been a part, not just a battery. I think it's been a... Oh, look at this. This is undone as well. Or did that just come undone now? No, that's the... Yeah, this is the dodgy ribbon cable. So this was undone from here. Yeah. Okay. Do you know what? It's been a while actually since I've had a bit of a I'm not saying it is, but it's been a while since I've kind of had a bit of a iffy one on eBay. But I'm just sort of thinking if... I'm just thinking if it's been apart, which obviously it has because the ribbon cable's been disconnected from here and also here, then surely they would have seen that. Surely they would have seen that. Oh, that's a good bit of corrosion there, isn't it? Right, let's zoom right in and have a look. So obviously that is our problem. So when they said it might be a problem with the power board, or the main board, whatever it said, I think, yeah, they're not wrong. But to be fair to them, they did say that it might be a problem with the power, you know, with the board. They didn't say that could be a battery problem. Right, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take it off and then IPA it, put isopropyl alcohol all over it, give it a good scrub, see if we can get rid of that corrosion. The thing is though, does it look like there's anything specialist there that I wouldn't be able to get? Capacitors, maybe transistors underneath there. Or, well, you know, when it comes to water damage stuff, it's normally unlikely, but it's repairable. But we'll give it a go. Now I'm hoping that these are all going to be idiot proof, that they can only go in one way. Yeah, there's corrosion everywhere. So what must have happened is it must have been cleaning, and then it must have knocked into something and knocked a glass of water over itself, or a glass of something on itself. Or maybe a cat or a dog had a little piddle on it. I suppose it's better that the water damage is over in this section here rather than on that main chip. There's still a couple more. Now I'm going to try not to move these around, because otherwise I'm going to have trouble getting them all back in. Yeah, look, it's gone right the way through there. Well, look, I'll give it a gentle clean to begin with. I don't want to basically knock off anything that's already on there. Let's give it a clean and then see what's happening. Right, so let's give it a clean with some isopropyl. Here we go. Got a little flux brush, and I'm just going to go across this affected area. And we'll see what it looks like after a good clean. Actually, what's interesting, look, that's where it says battery. So I didn't really make a note of what goes where, but it definitely says battery here, and that's where all the corrosion was. So that is interesting. I suppose that's why it's having a problem actually working and charging. Because if it was a problem over here, maybe it would just affect one of the wheels. I'm just going to zoom in a minute, because I can see that there's a component missing, but yet it looks like on the pads that there's remains of it. Right, if you have a look here, we've got some diodes. We've got D4, D7 and D5, but look, D4 is no longer here yet. Something on the pad there. Let's just make sure there's nothing on the other side. Yeah, so they're not going through, are they? Nothing's going through to the other side there. So we have a missing diode. Now where is that? I wonder if it's been a part already. It's probably in the previous property. I'm just going to have a look around in here in case it's fallen into the actual bodywork itself. Okay, and look here. Right, I can't find the diode, but look. So we have the battery connector here on the red and black, you know, going off to the lithium cell. It goes up to this connector, which also goes down to the two metal pads, which are the two metal pads that the dock connects to. And they do go up to this one here, and this one does correspond with this one here. So that is definitely where the battery connects. So now it's got a diode that's been blown off. So even though I can clean it, there's going to be no path there, is there? Unless what I'm thinking is, could I take this diode off and get a reading from it, and that might give me an example of what diode it is, and then I might be able to buy one. Or I have got a diode kit, but they're through hole components, but does it matter? if it's the same value, I could just put it on there. I'm almost certain that there's the remains of the pins there, because you can see one at the bottom there. Actually, all the jacks are marked up. Look, right motor, switch, jack. That sounds really, really useful. Right, okay, so it's starting to clean up. Weird thing is, all the chips on this board seem to have like a gloss over them. Imagine if you got some sort of varnish and just painted it across the whole board. Because every single chip is kind of hard to read. So for example, like we have a diode here, and it's just like all shiny on top. But underneath it, I can see if I look through the eye loop, that the diode over here says on it SK14. I can't read the top of it because it's full of like varnish, but this one says SK14 as well. So I thought maybe all the diodes might be the same, because apparently on like the the pick and place machine, then it's cheaper if they have less components. So sometimes, for example, if they needed a resistance of I'm just completely making this up now, let's say 40 ohms, it might be cheaper if they've already used 20 ohm resistors on other parts of the board, just to design it to put two 20 ohm resistors together to make 40 ohms, rather than place one 40 ohm resistor, because then it means the pick and place machine has to then be loaded with 40 ohm resistors as well. So there is a chance that this diode will be exactly the same as the one next to it. So I was hoping that maybe all the diodes will be the same, but unfortunately they're not, because these ones don't read the same. These ones here don't read the same as that one there. So let me zoom right in and let's see if we can sort of work this out together. So I've had a look on the actual board where the battery is, and basically on the positive, let me just double check this, the positive and negative from the lithium cell go to here. So this one here is the positive from the lithium cell, and this one is the negative. This one is the positive from the charging point at the bottom, and this one is the negative from the charging point at the bottom. And if you have a look here, you can see that the positive from the charging point goes off in this direction. Yeah, so it goes, so this whole area here is positive. So that's positive, and that's positive. So let's just verify that with our multimeter on continuity. There, okay, yeah. So if there's no diode here, so the positive is going up this rail here, which feeds this side, but look, there's nothing, there's no connection between here and here to feed all the components here. And then we've got the negative, which goes, where does the negative go to? Can't even see where the negative goes to. Surely it must be here. Do you know what this says? R400. I bet this is just a big capacitor though. I thought that would be going to there. Oh, so that goes to the positive there. Or maybe that is a resistor. Let me put my meter to ohms. Let's just see what this reads. I know it's off camera. Okay, 0.6.5 ohms. So that's fall short across there, but maybe, I don't know, is that normal? I'm not sure. Because I don't really know what that is. It says R, so I thought maybe resistor, but I don't know. Right. So where does this go off to? So this is going to go to here, and that feeds all this rail over here. Oh, up to here. Hold on now. Where does this one go to? I mean, where's this? What's this trace doing? Where does that trace go to? Maybe it feeds the other side of the board. Let me have a look on the other side. Oh yeah, look, okay. Maybe it feeds that T16 there. Let's just double check that. So I'm on the second one there. No. No, it goes to T15 here. Okay, well the good news is that this capacitor here isn't shorting. So I'm just on the negative here now, and it goes to this side here. And yet it doesn't go to that side, so that's good. So maybe the only problem we have is the fact that we've got a missing diode. How do I know what it is though? So if you look at this one here, this one says SK34A J9. This one looks to be, I would say, too big. If you look at the pads here, that looks wider than this one, doesn't it? So I reckon these two might be the same, but that is just a pure guess. But then when I go across the other diodes, do you see what I mean by all this gunk on top? And this is also on parts of the board where it hasn't been damaged. This is another SK14, so they all seem to be SK14. Apart from, annoyingly, this one here. If that was SK14 it would be fine. I would just maybe nick one from another part of the board and then look up online what SK14 is. But look, this is SK34A. Let's look across a few others. Maybe this is some sort of waterproof protection on there. Oh, here we go, this is a 34, isn't it? This is one. Right, so possibly I could remove it from somewhere else, and then maybe only, like, maybe the right motor or something might not work, but if I get it to charge, then I know that it's definitely to do with that. Well, we know it's to do with this, don't we? It's just like, what do I put on there? See, there's not going to be a schematic online, is there? But saying that, I don't know until I have a look. It's another SK14. Right, okay, I'm gonna have a look online. And look, now that it's drying, can you see it's still kind of coming back with all that corrosion? It's everywhere. Or is this just that might be just the thing that they put on it? Right, I'm going to have a look online and see what this diode is. I'm also going to have a look to see if there is a schematic. You never know, I might be lucky. If I was to type in this number here, it might come up with something. I could be lucky. So I'll get back to this in a little while. Right, when I went to pick the board up, I heard something drop, and look what I've just found. A capacitor. So I thought for a minute it might have been the diode, but look, it must have come off from here. So for all I know, there could be other things missing on this board now as well. It's really unfortunate to get something that's water damaged. It really does lessen your chances of fixing it, because as well as that, on every single one of these components there could be, for example, corrosion underneath here, which will affect them, because when you've got corrosion like this it can lead to shorts. Anyway, I'm going to still double check what those diodes are. Sorry, it's only been a couple of minutes later. I thought I might as well check this one that is here with diode test. Let me zoom out. So actually, if you have a look closely, this side here is the one with the little line on it. And then if I put my meter to diode test, and if I put the black lead to the one with the line, you can see it's reading 0.2, and then if I put it this way round, it's not reading anything. and I've gone across the other ones as well, and they're reading the same. So, well, that's 0.6 that way, but then we've got nothing that way. And this one down here, which is the same diode as this one here, but it's the other way round. So if we put the black lead at the top, it will read 0.2, and then this way, nothing. So it looks like the one that is there might well be working. It's definitely not shorted internally. It's not giving me the same reading both ways, and it's not completely open either. You know, so if I was getting no reading, well, if I was getting the same reading both ways, so either no reading or 2.2 or something, then that would say that that diode was faulty. So yeah, let me now go online and see exactly what this diode is. Okay, I've been doing a little bit of research online. So all I can say is thank God for the internet. So I haven't spent ages on it. I did type up schematic for Eufy RoboVac 30C. Nothing came up, but at least the manual's on there, so I can read all up about it, how it, what all the different colour lights mean, how often to clean it, etc, etc. Now, I've typed in SK34A into online, and basically it looks like it's a Scotchy rectifier. Apologies if I got that wrong, I'm going to show you this in a minute. But what I have done is I have bought one off eBay. It's only 99p, but then annoyingly I have to pay £1.75 postage. It's due to arrive in a few days' time. Now, because I'm so impatient, I don't really want to wait for that. So I've got an idea, and it might go completely wrong, but I'm hoping it doesn't. So I have got this diode kit here that I bought from CPC ages ago, but these are through hole, they're not SMD ones. And more importantly, they're not Scotchy, Scotchkey or Scotchy, however it's pronounced, but this is just a normal diode. Now, I don't even know if this diode here is SK34A, because obviously it's missing. So the two diodes that I can see on the board are SK34A, SK14, and then we do have this fat one here, which I haven't actually looked into. But looking at the width of the pad there, the pad definitely looks wider than this one here. So this one here, I'm pretty sure, well actually no, I'm not pretty sure at all. I'm guessing that it's either going to be an SK34A or an SK14. Now pretty much the whole board is SK14, apart from this one here and this one here. These are both SK34A. Now I'm thinking that it might be a 34A purely because it's the one nearest the battery connector. Now let me tell you what these things mean. So basically the SK is the device type. Oh, of course, Scotch. Would that be stand for Scotchy? It probably does, doesn't it? Okay, and then we've got 3, the first one here, is the forward current, so 3 amps in this instance, and the 4 stands for the reverse voltage, which is 40 volts in this instance. So this one here has a forward current of 3 amps and the reverse voltage of 40. Now I believe what reverse voltage means is that you can get voltage going through it this way, but then if you were to get voltage going the other way through it, if it goes above 40 volts, then it would fail, it would blow this. I'm guessing, but I don't really know if that's what reverse voltage means, or does it mean it can only allow 40 volts through this way? I'm thinking reverse voltage means the other way, because with a diode it allows it through one way, but it blocks it the other way, so it's like a one-way door just allowing it through. So now this one here, SK14, SK again must be Scotchy, and then we have 1 for only 1 amp, but it's still 40 volts reverse. So what I'm thinking is, would it be such a big deal if you were to replace, for example, an SK14 with an SK34? Oh, and the A is, it says package type again. Oh, device type, sorry, and package type must be the size of this, but this one, as far as I can see, doesn't say A. Apologies for the noise, I'm in the extension and it's raining quite heavy. So what I'm wondering is, would it be such a big deal? Because even if you were to put this in this place here, all it would mean is that, yeah, more current can go through it, but the board shouldn't be asking for more current. If the board's designed in this area only to have, let's say, 0.8 amps go through, then even if you were to put a 3 amp diode in there, it's still only going to be asking for 0.8 amps. So I'm thinking, how important is it really it's important to put the correct one in if it was wrong. So for example, if I was to put one of these in here, then in this part of the board it might be constantly asking for 2 amps, and by putting this in, 1 amp, it's going to blow. But by doing it the other way round, maybe these are more expensive than these ones, and that's the reason why they only put in what you need in the circuit, because otherwise, if this was a few pence more, that starts to add up when you have like a few of them around the board. So I don't know the difference between a Scotchy rectifier and just a normal diode. Basically, it says something like it switches much quicker and the forward voltage drop is much lower, but that means nothing to me. If you could sort of word it in the comments how it applies in a circuit like this, you know, sort of in how you think it might apply in a vacuum cleaner circuit, in real layman terms, so me and other people reading it who are not in this field would be able to understand it. So by putting in a normal diode, is it going to be really dodgy? So what I'm thinking about doing is, I'm thinking about taking this one out here, which is a SK34A, and putting it over here. Yeah, I'm going to make a note of everything that I've done, so I can always reverse it. And then what I'm thinking is that maybe this side is the most important, because this is where the battery comes in and starts everything off. While here, it could be equally, it could be more important, but I'm thinking maybe when it gets to here, that this might be just feeding something up this side. It might not be affecting anything over here. So by me putting this down to here, I'm wondering if I can get some life in the vacuum cleaner until my proper diode arrives. And even then, I don't know if it is the proper diode or not, because it's missing, so I don't know the value of it. But from what I've just explained about the amps, I'm thinking it might be okay. Now, just to see if it's working today, because I'm impatient, I'm wondering if I was just to use a normal diode and just pick the 3 amp one. Yeah, this one here, 1N5408. Yes, it's got a reverse voltage off. And why is it VR if it's reverse voltage? Why isn't it RV? But if it's got a reverse voltage of 1000, again, we're not going to be having 1000 volts in here anyway. So as long as it's not less than 40, I'm thinking it should be okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these 1N5408s and I'm going to put them in place of this one here, and also I'm going to have to solder in that capacitor there. So I'm going to take this off using tweezers. I think I don't really want to get hot air around here. I'm just going to use tweezers, take it off, and then clean up these pads here, put it on here, make sure it's the right way round, because at the moment we got the black bands here, but looking at my notes that I did ages ago, the black band has to go to the cathode side, the negative. So in this instance here, the black band is going to be going to this top one here, because you can see they've printed it on the board. So just like the one next to it, the negative is going to be going to here. And again, the reason I think it's like the same as this one is because they're both on the same, but that doesn't mean anything, does it? Sorry, that was just a doorbell. Looks like my Bang & Olufsen tape cassette things arrived. The thing looks amazing. It's faulty, so hopefully I'm going to be able to look at that later on in the week, because I've never had one of their products. I think they're a Danish company, but looking at the reviews and just looking at the pictures of this thing, it looks amazing. And I think when it was new back in the 90s sometime, or was it the 80s? I don't know. I think it was like £800 worth or something. So I got it for 50 quid faulty. Anyway, so what was I saying? So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be putting one of these diodes here. I'm going to be swapping this diode to here. Then when the real one arrives, I can put it on here. Let's see if it's going to work or not. Right, so here comes the soldering time. So I'm just going to be adding a little bit of flux to that one there. Also the little diode here. And also the one up here as well, because I need to clean those pads up. Right, and there you go, you can see the remains of the old one. So 100% there was one there, but we know that anyway, because otherwise what's the point of having this track going across here? It doesn't do anything. So I'm just going to add some fresh solder to that. Right, so that should accept the new diode okay. Now I'm just going to clean up this capacitor down here. And I'm just going to clean up one off the pads so the capacitor can lie nice and flat. So I'm going to take there you go, can you see now it's removed from there? So let's turn this around to make it easier for me. Now I'm going to heat up this side here and hopefully this will lie flat. Now I can just top up the other side with some solder. There we go, so that's on there nicely now. So now I'm going to plug in my cheap tweezers, these ones here, and I'm going to try to remove this diode. Right, let's give it a go. There we go, right, and I'm going to turn it round, try to get it in the camera. Where are we? Here. So, oh, I dropped it. Right, let me just make sure I've got it on the correct way. So basically the band has to be the same as the one next to it, which is the cathode, going to the cathode here, this side here. I'm just cleaning the flux off it because I can't see anything on it because it's just covered in flux. Right, I can just about see the band. So the band's going to the line on that little symbol. It's going to go that way. Right, let's try to grab it now with the tweezers and get it in place. Well, I think that might be in the right place. I'm just going to have a closer look. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's not as even as the one next to it, but it's definitely on the pads. Now I'm just going to unplug the tweezers because I won't need them anymore, and I'm just going to take over with my soldering iron. I'm just going to make sure that this is definitely on there okay. Right, okay, so they're definitely on. I'll clean them all up at the end. Now I'm going to concentrate on putting the non-standard diode on here now. And we'll see if it works or not. This one here. So again, the black band of the diode has to go to the line, which is the cathode. So you see on this diode here, you can see I've got a black band, and look, this is the right one. 1N5408, and if I get this one here, you can see 1N5408. So it's definitely the correct one. So we're going to be putting on that way round. Yeah. Now obviously this thing is huge compared to what we had before, but I don't think it makes a difference because look, this speaker's sticking up loads over here. I think it's going to be fine. So I'm just going to get the tweezers. I'm going to angle these legs so I put a little kick at the bottom of them. I'll show you what I mean when I've done it. Right, so you can see what I've done. So now I'm going to cut them back and try to solder them on there, and we've still got a gap here where they're not shorting against each other. Remember, this is only temporary until the proper one arrives. And let's try to solder this in. Right, I'm going to have to put loads of solder to try to keep that in place. This is very odd. The die is a lot bigger than I thought it would be. Right, okay, well there's two massive dollops on that now. Yeah, look there, that should hold, shouldn't it? And that side there, and it's not touching the capacitor. Right, so I'm going to zoom out, I'm going to clean everything here with IPA again. And then we'll put it in back in the board, and we'll, back in the vacuum cleaner, and we'll see whether it's going to do anything. Now, there could be numerous other faults on this. Remember, I'm only doing what I've seen, which is this diode here, but there could be loads of other things wrong. I think that's going to be good enough for initial testing. So hopefully that's definitely on there, that's on there, and the capacitor's back in place. So let's pop it back in now, and we'll see if anything different happens this time. So some of you will already know the impact of using a diode which is not a Scotch key. See, I don't know the impact of it. So right now you might be thinking, Vince, this is never going to work, or you might be thinking it will work but it won't be working as well, or you might think that it's not going to make any difference whatsoever. But right now, see, I really do not know the impact of just putting a normal diode in. Will do. Oh, Wi-Fi jack, so this is the Wi-Fi card here, and this is the aerial here, you see. Seems like quite a nice piece of kit, and these are all the sensors around the place. So these must be like proximity sensors. So whenever it gets near to this, it will reverse away. There's two down here as well. Looking, if you're the manufacturer, you see here you've got PC test. So you must be able to plug something in there, and maybe it will run like diagnostics to see what's working and what's not working. Pushing these ones in for the side motors. One's wide and one's narrow. This is smaller here than it is here, so I'm putting the wide side on this one because the narrow side, yep, there you go, the narrow one's for that side there. And I have to just check this for continuity because can you see the wires have been trapped here, so I just need to straighten them up a bit. I can't see, they haven't actually cut through, and it hasn't gone through the insulation, but that doesn't mean that the wire's not trapped, haven't been crushed on the inside. But I'm thinking that this is going to be, I can tell that this is stranded wire, so do you know what, it's probably going to be fine, but I'm just going to go across them and check. And the last one's red, which should be underneath here, this side. Yeah, so definitely discontinuity between that there. So although they're a bit crushed, it is actually alright. Right, so I'm going to pop the motors back in. Do you know what? I am going to put it back together properly and then see how it see what it does. Right, I can do the rest of the screws later. So let's see now if that light is going to light up and do anything. Well, no, but that is because it's completely flat. So let's pop this here now, plug it in. What do you think? Yes or no? Or do you think it's going to go bang? I'm not sure. Right, let's pop this along here now and drive this up. Excellent. Okay, went to blue for a second. Now it's flashing. It's flashing red and it's not making that annoying beeping. Look, turn these lights off. Look at that. So, I presume that is normal. I need to read the book and see what's happening. Now, this is going to take, I don't know how long it's going to take to charge, but remember the battery is completely depleted. So I'm going to get this out on a flat level, leave it plugged in. Do you know what? I might as well put all the screws in it now because I'm pretty confident. Well, I don't want to say that because every time I say I'm pretty confident, the video goes on for another hour after that. But I think rather than risk getting these screws kicked around the place, I am going to put them in here now. And if I have to take it fully apart again, so be it. Right, okay, so that's all the screws back in everywhere and I haven't got any left over, which is always a good sign. I'm just going to get a wet wipe and give everything a clean. It all cleaned up and it has come up pretty nice. There's scratches around here, but apart from that, the finish on this is kind of like high gloss. Almost looks like glass. So yeah, it's come up good. I would say, weird thing is, the tyres had lots of kind of look like tar on them. So I'm wondering whether maybe, I suppose if things like honey and stuff or maple syrup or something like that was spilt on the floor, then in fact you can still see a little bit just on there. So obviously I have to make sure that they're very clean because I don't want to put that on my carpet and then end up, see that sort of stuff, look. And it doesn't smell, it's not like cat or dog dirt or anything like that. Just looks kind of syrupy. That might be the same thing that maybe went down the inside possibly. Yeah, I would hazard a guess that I don't think this has had that much use because the bristles and stuff still seem to be okay. Also, it doesn't look like it was clean before it came to me, but it wasn't particularly dirty. So I don't know really, has this had, I don't think it's had a hard life. So yeah, I'm going to plug it in now and hopefully it will charge up okay. I've left a sticky thing on the back here. I know that was probably just to stick it to the wall, maybe to stop it being dragged away. But you can get this tape when you buy this. It comes with this tape, which is like barrier tape, and I think you're supposed to put it either side of wires, because if this goes over wires, it's going to suck them up. So I'm wondering whether, I don't know, I'm wondering if they put this tape here to stop this trying to dock this the wrong way or something like that. So I'm just leaving it on there for the time being. I'm sure this knows to go on it this way, but when it goes home, when it starts to get low, I wonder how it knows the front from the back. There must be, I don't know. That's what I don't understand, how it knows the front from the back. And maybe that's why they put this on here. I'm not too sure. Anyway, let's charge this thing up. Right, so here goes. It's in a different room now. Let's put it up there. I'll just make sure it's off at the bottom. Off, but I'm sure it charges whether it's on or off. Brilliant. Well, I'm just going to leave it do its thing. I'm going to read up the manual, find out how it works. I'm going to download the app on my phone. And then hopefully at the end I might be able to show you it working, if that is that the battery is definitely okay and just discharged. I don't think the battery is going to be faulty, because remember it was reading 10 point something volts. So maybe if it was completely dead, if there's four things in there, let's say if they were all reading like 2 volts, well that would only read 8 volts. So hopefully then this battery will be salvageable. So I'll see you later on tonight. Right, okay, the time is 10:30 at night, and in the last few minutes, because I've been sat down editing the beginning of this video, it's gone from being a pulsating orange, so it would kind of like go to orange and then slowly off and then back on again to that. So it's taken 5 hours. Hold on, half 5, half 6, half 7, half 8, half 9, half 10, yeah. So 5 hours, that's 300 minutes, and it says in the instructions that it can actually take, I think it was either 240 to 300 or 300 to 360 minutes to charge from flat. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the bristles on it, you know, these bits here. I'm going to put these things on, and then I'm going to give it a go and see if it's actually going to work or not. I haven't set up the app whatsoever, but let's just turn it on and see if it's moving around the place. Right, so let's just pop these on, there and there. Now my son's got a load of Lego out on the floor over there, so let's bring it into the kitchen and see what it does. So we're in the kitchen now, let's turn it on. Right, that's going already, which I don't know whether it should be, the other one's not. Maybe that's normal, I don't know. I haven't set it up to Wi-Fi or anything yet. It's off. They're both spinning. Is it going to hit? No, it didn't hit. And both the little things are spinning. Let's see what happens now when it goes across there. Oh, look. It is actually sensing it before it hits it. I thought we'd have to hit it, but that's good. Well, fantastic. I mean, I'll have to obviously I haven't connected it up to my phone or anything yet. Let me get in the way and see if it's going to dodge me. Yes, it does. That's quite clever, isn't it? And both of the things are definitely spinning. That one and that one. But let's see if it is actually hoovering up. I've got some pepper here. I'll have to put it down in its path when it comes along. Right, ready? Yes, it did. Not brilliantly, but it only made 1 pass. Let's do it here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it has definitely sucked it up. It's pushed those bits away. But yeah, let's do another bit. It's working! Unbelievable! Right, so I mean, there might be more things wrong with it. I don't know whether it's going to connect to Wi-Fi, and there's other settings you can do with the remote control. So there might well be a revisit video on it. And do you know what? I don't mind if there is something faulty with it, because I'd quite like to fault find it further. But initially, that seems to be working. Yeah, look. Now I don't know whether it's going to go back home afterwards, and I don't know how long it goes before it does go back home. I suppose when it knows that, I suppose it keeps going until the battery's about to die. Well, I don't know if it's a bit of a gimmick or not. The reviews are really good on Amazon, time will tell. I mean, I've done it just purely for the video, and for me, is it going to get the corner bit? Yeah. For me, I really enjoyed doing that, because it was like, again, a proper fault. It wasn't just a battery related fault. Do you know, I think this might get used. The problem is, in my house there's kind of always things like leads and all my junk thrown around the place, or Lego on the floor, or pens and pencils. So this would be ideal now for just a kind of empty, if you had like an open plan place, because otherwise the odds of it going through a doorway to get into another room, well, I suppose it would go across there now, wouldn't it, if that was open, but it's not. I don't know, maybe it does do the whole of your downstairs of the house if it was going on for half an hour or so. I mean, it's definitely taken a random path around the place, it's not doing the same thing over and over again. As far as I can see, that seems to be working okay. I mean, with that spinning thing, I wonder what would happen now when it does. Well, I think when the battery's flat, I'm pretty sure, going flat, I think it stops the suction and stuff when it goes back home, back to the dot. In which case then that other one should stop spinning. I'll have to watch a few reviews to see whether that should spin. I'm thinking it shouldn't, but then again, that might be something to do with that diode. I can't see how that would affect it. Maybe I've got some other fault on there, I don't know. But time will tell, and if I have, I think that would make an interesting revisit video, or a separate video, how to make it only spin when it's on, rather than just spinning as soon as, when the suction's on, rather than just spinning as soon as power's applied. Let me get my foot in the way. Yeah, there you go, actually hit it that time. So when you hit it, it automatically stops and goes the other way. It's a bit of a fingerprint magnet, you see, because of this big gloss on the top. Excellent, so I'm going to have fun with that, connecting that up to the Wi-Fi and then seeing if the personal assistants can control it and stuff, and also messing around with remote control. But initial things are good. If you want me to do a revisit video when I know a bit more about it, and also when that proper diode comes, again, just pop it down in the comments and it's not a problem. I can do a revisit video, and then by then I might know whether it's got any other faults or not. Fantastic, honestly I'm so happy with that. And the charging aspect seems to be okay, because it took all that time to charge and then it went from an orange light to a blue light, so I'm pretty sure that is fixed. So yeah, for me, £48, I think in this instance, a little bit of a bargain. So yeah, good, I'm happy with that. So if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more trying to fix videos. Take care, bye now.